Why should you try in med school? This seems like a paradox because of everything we probably see online with regard to American med school, where people are grinding, getting there early, doing these ridiculous hours to try and get onto a specialty program. Whereas often at unis in Australia, it's transitioning the other way to a pass-fail system where your internship is decided on a ballot, your grades are simply a pass or a fail, and they don't count towards anything else. And so lots of people are shifting the other way and saying, what's the point of trying at all? What is the incentive to doing well in med school? And this is a point of concern for many patients, doctors, and students themselves, because what exactly is the point of spending these 5 years excelling and doing well when in reality, you're just going to get a job dictated by an algorithm? So, from my 5 years of experience, this is what I have to say about trying in med school and why I think it was worthwhile, even though the ballots are determining your internship position and it isn't a matter of grades. So, first things first, compound interest is one of the most powerful forces that you can utilize. Classic example is Warren Buffett. His wealth, he started accruing at a very early age. And if you follow the exponential curve, the longer you've been on it, you'll start beating everyone else. Everyone will tell you, and everyone seems to know that every single medical specialty basically is getting competitive and you have to pass difficult exams. And some people just seem to put off the fact that you're going to have to study super, super hard and you're going to have to learn a lot of information to pass those exams. So the more work you do now, you're saving yourself work in the future where you'll have a job, maybe you have a family, children, and you have to look after other people. Med school is the perfect time to get yourself a head start on all of the work you need to be doing later. And to be honest, if you are behind in med school and you're competing against someone who's interested in that same specialty, who knows already at a quite high level the med school content, they're going to smash past you when they get to learning the next stage. Because when they're learning the advanced stuff, you're still learning the basics. So you can put yourself ahead of a lot of the pack when it comes to specialty applications down the line if you start your learning now and get a good foundation in med school. Otherwise, you're going to have to try and relearn that when everything's coming down on you at once and things are busy and you have deadlines and work, and it's going to be a lot harder later on. So start learning early, utilize the compound interest, because the more you learn, the easier it is to learn new things and the faster it is to learn new things. You can think about how easily someone at our level could learn 100 new words from the English vocabulary. Whereas if we compared that to someone starting out in prep or preschool, that would take them forever. It's because we've already learned all these words that we can simply just add on more very simply. And it's the same thing with med school knowledge. The more you have already, the easier it is to learn more and more. So if you get ahead now, you will almost put yourself on a path that will never be reached. And this is a really, really good opportunity for the diligent, disciplined students to put themselves ahead of the pack early. Number two, I think trying opens up opportunities that you wouldn't have expected to exist. Doing well allows you to do scholarships. It makes people more likely to take you for research projects and for mentoring. You get invited to, maybe you want to go to a conference, maybe you want to do a team activity with some friends, and you get to network with high achieving students like yourself who are all disciplined and all heading in their certain directions. I'm a big believer that the people you spend the most time around start rubbing off on you. And so if you're the one who sort of commands respect and you're known as someone who's disciplined and high achieving, you will draw in those other high achieving people, and that will help elevate your game as well. And it'll introduce you to similar people. Some of the most interesting people I know are people who I've met through opportunities created by doing well in med school. Thirdly, it will enhance the experience of what it's like being a med student at university. So if you imagine what it's like on work experience going into a hospital and you see all these strange things and you think, oh, this is cool, but I have no idea what's going on. And lots of people are in med school still thinking that same thing. Oh, this seems really interesting for them, but I have no idea what's going on. And the more you understand about what is actually happening, what is the condition, what is the pathophysiology behind it, what is the surgical procedure, what exactly is happening, what's the anatomy here, the more you'll actually learn from that experience. That's why so many courses have pre-learning as components before you actually get to the important material. And so the more you learn, the better you'll be able to enjoy the learning aspect of the placement experience as well. Otherwise, you're not really doing your due diligence, and placement can seem exceedingly complex. So it's going to be a big rush, I think, when lots of people we get to internship and we're going to be swarmed by all this new information. But if you already have that background well established in med school, which I think is the point, then it'll be a lot easier to make that transition. Fourth, I think it's useful from a personal level in terms of purpose and meaning to have something that you do your best in, that you put in good effort in. For some people, they have something extracurricular that's good for them. They have a business they're working on, a passion that they pursue. Maybe they like a sport, and that's what they try and do their best in, or they do their best in a hobby. That's completely okay. And I think if you've got something that you really enjoy that gives you meaning and that you do your best in, I think that's a great avenue to keep pursuing. For other people, though, I think it's easy to just pride yourself on doing comprehensive uni work, and enjoy the learning. Make med school something that you're proud of the effort you put in, not just something you scrape by just as a hurdle requirement. So I find that it's been really motivating to make uni something that this is what I will show up for. Whereas I have my hobbies on the side, but I will pride myself on how I approach an exam and how thorough I am. So, and that I think gives me a lot of purpose and meaning behind the studying as well, because this is, I know this is important. This is my future. This is what I'm going to be putting time into the future. So, by working on it now, I know that I'm working for myself in the long term as well. Finally, the ability to help others and also help yourself as a consequence. So lots of people will come asking you for help or advice, or they have questions, and you can be that person to help each other and be the person that people rely on rather than you relying on other people. Additionally, there is a lot of respect that comes from someone who has their things in order, seems disciplined, is goal-oriented, working for the long term. You'll command respect from others, and that will make, I think, a lot of relationships more meaningful as well, and will help with a lot of the dynamic there. So you've got to basically decide, who do you want to be seen as? What are your goals? Are you thinking short term or long term? Yes, it's important not to go to the extreme and ruin your 5 years of enjoyment, what could be enjoyment, because you're trying to just eke out every single benefit. But, at least try and be 80 to 90% of the way there in terms of what you could be doing. Because most people are going to leave it really, really late for one massive swarm at the end, getting onto their specialty. And it's going to be very hard to beat someone in a sprint who's already been training in the past and knows the conditions really well. So I think hopefully this gives you something to think about just for long-term planning, and a few reasons just to at least do the due diligence and learn the basics and learn the foundations really well in med school. And hopefully that makes this whole process a bit more enjoyable, and hopefully not just see things as hurdle requirements and boxes you have to check to get to the degree and move on to the next stage. Because there will be always some background learning you have to do outside of work. And I personally think it's best to start that now and learn to cultivate some enjoyment for it. Make it something you get to do rather than something that you want to do. At the end of the day, I think one thing we have to remember is that med school is super competitive. And for every person who applies, there would probably be 10 people at least who would have applied for that spot. And you're in this position of privilege that many people wanted. And maybe it's a moral duty, but maybe it's an inspiration that you get to be the one who learns these things and gets those experience. And why not just put your best forward, try and enjoy it as much as possible, and try and do the very best you can. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out my other videos related to learning and studying, and I'd love to hear back from you on your thoughts. Thanks very much, guys.